Hi there, it's Justin Lubino again with Senior Advisors, and I wanted to create this short video regarding a situation that's become more and more common with people that are working past the age of 65. And we're getting questions that come up frequently about what should you do about your Medicare decisions when you're working past the age of 65. So the types of people that we're going to be looking at really fall into two different categories. And one is people that are approaching the age of 65 and need to understand what should they do when it comes to their Medicare decisions if they're continuing to work. That's what this video is specifically addressing. The other group of people we're going to look at is you've already made the decision to continue to work past the age of 65. Now you're looking at potentially retiring and leaving that group insurance coverage that you had, and what should you do as far as next steps in that situation. So for the first group of people, if you're approaching the age of 65 and you're still working and plan to continue to work, the first question you ask is the company more or less than 20 employees? And the reason that's important is for companies that are less than 20 employees, Medicare is primary coverage. So the group health plan is not the primary payer for your claims. Why is that important? Well, if you work for a small company and you don't get your Part B of Medicare, then the group health plan doesn't have to pay your claims because Medicare should be primary. So that's why that's the first and most important question when you're working and you're approaching the age of 65. If it is that small company, then you know right away you need to enroll in your Medicare Part B. And then the next thing you really want to do if you're in that situation is do a comparison to determine if you should then go ahead and enroll in a supplement and a drug plan, or do you continue to keep that group health plan as a secondary insurance? That's most cases very unlikely that that's going to be cost effective to keep the group health plan in that case, but it's something you want to look at in that case as well. Now, in the other case, let's say it is a large company, more than 20 employees. At this point, you really get to make the determination of whether or not it makes sense for you to stay on the group health plan or to switch out and get a Part B of Medicare with a supplement and a drug card. It's really up to you at that point because the group health plan is primary coverage when it's more than 20 employees. So you don't have to enroll in Part B, but it's your decision. You can do the cost comparison and see what makes the most sense. This is something we do for a lot of clients and just people that are curious about whether or not it makes sense to switch off of that group health plan. If you're paying a lot in monthly premiums, $200-$300 a month, and the coverage has a high deductible, $5,000, $3,000, you may be better off looking at a supplement with Part B and a drug card to save some money. But that's why we do that complete cost comparison in that case. Okay. Now, if you're in the other situation, now you've already, worked past the age of 65, and now you're planning on leaving work, so you're at the point where you're ready to leave. The first question you ask is did you already enroll in Part B? So as we saw in the prior slide, there's certain situations where while you're continuing to work that you need to have your Part B. And there's other situations where people just don't know and they're in a large group plan and they still end up enrolling in their Part B when they didn't have to have it. So that's why that's the first question we ask at this point when you're leaving work after the age of 65. So if you did already enroll in Part B, the next process is to analyze your options for Medicare Advantage versus a Medigap, which is also called a Medicare supplement, and a Part D prescription drug plan. So we can certainly help you with that process and let you know the different options that are available in your specific area. You can give us a call at the number listed above to help with that process. Now let's go through this if you do not yet enroll in Medicare Part B. So this again is if you're working at a larger company, more than 20 employees, and you did not enroll in your Part B, this is when you have to go ahead and enroll in Part B. So what do you do? How do you do that? Well, there's two forms you need to complete and return to Social Security. The first one is called the application to enroll in Part B, and the second one is the request for employment information. These are what the forms look like, and the links to those specific forms, we can also email those to you if you'd like us to send you those links. But the first form is really your indication to the government that you want your Part B and what effective date you want the Part B coverage. The second form, which is really more important is where the employer is basically signing off, and they're saying that you've had proof of coverage since you were 65. And this basically is so you do not get penalized by the government for not having your Part B coverage. This also avoids any delays in your Part B effective date. So these two forms are critical to signing up for Part B when you've worked past the age of 65. Our recommendation always is to physically bring these down to Social Security, so you know you're handing them to someone physically rather than mailing these forms. However, mailing them is an option if you have enough time in advance. It generally takes, once received, it generally takes about 3 weeks if there's no issues with these forms. It's about 3 weeks to get the Part B effective date issued, and then the card in the mail with your Part B effective date, the Medicare card with your Part B effective date. So after you do that, then you decide whether you want to supplement in a drug card or an Advantage plan. And that, again, is where we can be of assistance as well. So you can call us at the number above if you have any questions with any of this material, or if you have questions about a Medicare supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan, and we can certainly help you out and let you know what's available in your area. I hope you've enjoyed this. You can find more information on our webpage at senior-advisors.com, or you can like us on Facebook and follow us on YouTube for additional updates in the future. I hope you have a great day. Thanks.